Welcome to the intriguing world of K-Meet Yashiro Asana, a seemingly ordinary student in Shizume City whose life takes a surreal twist when he's accused of a crime he didn't commit to Tara Tatsuka's murder. Join us as Yashiro navigates through a web of mysteries and alliances in this captivating new story. Makoto Suo, leading the Hamura group through Shizume City, sends his members to carry out a secret mission, but the only female member, Anna Kushina, decides to stay with him. Outside a hotel suite, 3 Hamura members are standing by, using a pizza delivery lie as a diversion before they barge into the suite and attack the people inside that are part of a gang involved in a recent robbery, and later Yada and Kusanagi's group interrogate them, leaving only the apparent leader conscious waiting for Makoto to arrive. But disappointingly, Anna's telepathic abilities reveal that the leader doesn't have any information before Hamura encounters Sector 4 members on the hotel's second floor, because of which Makoto gets into a battle with them. Meanwhile, students at Ashinaka High School prepare for an upcoming festival as Yashiro Asana, during lunch, catches the attention of a girl named Kukuri, who observes him from afar. Later, Yashiro heads to town to run errands for the school council, and while purchasing items, gets spotted by Hamura members who chase him through the city before cornering him in an alley where Kusanagi attacks Yashiro with fireballs, but a mysterious figure, Kuro Yatagami, quickly intervenes and identifies himself as a vassal, planning to fulfill his master's dying wish by slaying the evil king, leaving Yashiro shocked. Suddenly, the city's network gets hijacked and broadcasts a disturbing video with a man resembling Yashiro shooting Tara Tatsuka, so Sector 4 quickly investigates the network breach, while Monokata accuses Makoto of involvement as Kuro confronts Yashiro, questioning his connection to the shooting in the video, which Yashiro nervously believes to be true. Kuro accuses Yashiro I of being the evil king based on the video in Shizume City, expressing his intention to take his life under Ikaijin Miwa's orders, hearing which Yashiro hurriedly tries to escape with a pink cat, but Kuro uses his aura to suspend him mid-air, so he appears to give up but surprises him by requesting a final favor to write a farewell letter to his ill, younger sister, but instead using the piece of paper to trigger flash bombs before disappearing. Hamura members quickly relocate to a surveillance van, where Shohei hacks into Shizume City's network, offering a 10 million reward for the capture of the evil king, which civilians respond to, and Kusanagi asks for Anna's insight on Yashiro's location before the Hamura members quickly assemble, wary of potential interference from the Black Dog Kuro. Meanwhile, Yashiro, disguised, walks through town and retreats to a rooftop after spotting Kuro. Witnessing Yada attacking him, he reveals himself before Yada and Kuro engage in a fight which ends with Kuro searching for Yashiro, but finding only his school pin. As Yashiro returns to his dorm room reflecting on what's happening to him, the pink cat suddenly transforms into a girl named Nico. As school hours end, Kuro arrives at Ashinaka High School, guided by Kukuri to Yashiro's dormitory before going after him, but the next morning Yashiro suggests setting aside their differences for breakfast, making a tired Kuro cook for the 3, using after which they share a meal together. Monokata enters a jailhouse and goes to Makoto's cell, finding him asleep, so he forcefully wakes him up, warning him against drawing power from the Dresden slates, and insisting that he step down as king, threatening to kill him otherwise, so Makoto suggests Monokata's personal surveillance as the ultimate prison. In his office, Monokata discusses with Seri how they can permanently capture Makoto before they discuss the investigation of Tara Tatsuka's murder, with Seri proposing level Prussian blue changed to royal blue as Fushimi receives information about Hamura's leaked video and prepares to go to the location. Meanwhile, at Hamura, Kusanagi talks about Kuro's actions against them as Yada beats up Kamamoto due to doubts about Makoto before Kusanagi scolds them, explaining Makoto's reasons and confronting Yada's distrust. Yashiro asks Kuro about Hamura's attack, to which he claims that Yashiro is a murderer, so he questions his motive, leading to a discussion about King's hierarchy and power, while Fushimi attacks former clansmen at a warehouse. Later, Yashiro questions Kuro's intent to kill him, to which he explains that those are his master's orders and reveals the king's true power over Japan. Meanwhile, a man named Adolphe K., Wiseman dances with a woman, displaying images of Yashiro with each step. After finishing their meals, Kuro contemplates Yashiro's innocence and decides to observe and judge for himself. The next day, Kuro prepares lunch for Yashiro, Nico, and himself, while a cleaning robot picks up Yashiro's backpack and, mistaking him for trash, attempts to dispose of him. Yashiro later attends class with Kuro and Nico before their non-student identities get revealed, and during lunch, Kukuri brings veggie lunches to him, surprised to find him eating homemade meals with Kuro and Nico before Yashiro, researching Tatara Tatsuka's murderer, explains he received the video from his friend Miss Hina. Meanwhile, as Scepter 4 and Hamra investigate him, Anna uses her abilities to locate him, and Yada rushes to the island after learning of his location as Yashiro, Kuro, and Nico dress in Japanese garments for a festival, as he decides to establish an alibi for the time of Tatsuka's murder, but Kukuri disappoints him by not recalling him at the festival, so he tries searching the school, but finds evidence in the database that he never exited the gates on the day of the festival, so she reveals that Yashiro could sneak out without his PDA. Kuro, initially accepting Yashiro's innocence, changes his mind when learning about the PDA problem and attempts to kill Yashiro, who lists various places he could have been during the murder before Kukuri recalls him being in the gymnasium and shows them a photo, leading Kuro to admit he couldn't be the murderer. Later, he helps in the festival's production as Yashiro, returning to his room, notices bloodstains on his shirt from Tatsuka's murder. At the school gate, Yada and Kamamoto, unaware of the PDA requirement, are unable to pass through, leaving them confused. Kuro takes charge in motivating students for the school festival and scolds Yashiro for being distracted, while helping Kukuri with a sewing task. Yashiro, preoccupied with the bloodstains on his shirt, gets told to run errands in the city, while Seri gets approval for an Ashinaka investigation and assembles a team, including Fushimi, despite his reluctance since they plan to arrest Yashiro and expect possible resistance. Meanwhile, Yada and Kamamoto, acquiring PDS, manage to get inside the school, but miss Yashiro using a secret exit, after which Seri's team meets the school principal because of facing database challenges, but Fushimi wanders off. As Yada, Kamamoto, and Fushimi question students about Tatsuka's murderer, he hacks into the database but finds no matches, so Yada and Kamamoto approach the student council's office and encounter Fushimi, unaware that he's their former ally, as he taunts him, leading to a fight as they clash with auras, revealing Fushimi's enhanced strength. During the battle, he injures Yada and warns Kamamoto not to interfere, but the fight is interrupted by Seri, who convinces them to stop temporarily, after which the two head for the sports field as Kamamoto tends to Yada's wound, and they contemplate returning, but Yada decides to ask Kukuri about Yashiro, while Fushimi reports to Seri that he found no matches in the database for Tatsuka's murderer. Mikoto experiences a vivid dream of a ruined city, his decaying sword of Damocles, and a burning aura in his hand before seeing Tatsuka's murder, where he's wounded by a gunshot, but Anna's aura suddenly interrupts him as he wakes up, reflecting on his history with Tatsuka. Yashiro wonders why his classmates can't remember him at the festival, and notices his absence from the restaurant's customer photos while dining with Kuro and, at Hamra, Mikoto reminisces about Tatsuka, recalling their initial meeting and his desire to be his vassal, while Kuro, holding Yashiro's note for fireworks, struggles to contact Kukuri before Nico runs away in her cat form. Meanwhile, Yashiro's attempts to call his home prove useless, and discusses the phone issue with Kuro aboard a train as Mikoto reminisces on his moments with Tatsuka, such as a failed skateboard attempt and his excitement about a new camera and Tatsuka playing a song on his guitar before his thoughts shift to the night of his death. Yada and Kusanagi find Tatsuka on a rooftop, mortally wounded, so Yada tries to get help, but Tatsuka loses to his injuries, leaving him in tears. Meanwhile, Yashiro and Kuro arrive at a soccer stadium in the rain, where he questions his identity and tears up, asking if Kuro still wants to kill him, but instead of doing that, Kuro plays a message from his recorder, stating he won't act until the fact that Yashiro's guilty has been confirmed. In the rain, Yashiro attempts to communicate with Kuro when suddenly stadium headlights flash at them as Scepter 4, led by Lieutenant Iwashima, surrounds the stadium, announcing their intent to take Yashiro and Kuro into custody, seeing which Yashiro suggests surrendering, but Kuro refuses, so they prepare to fight, but are unexpectedly caught up in Nico's illusion and transported to the streets of Shizume City during the day. Seri, caught under a sensory spell, realizes the illusion's impact as Nico guides Yashiro and Kuro, encountering Damioji and Kamo, whom Kuro swiftly knocks aside before Seri confronts him in a brief battle, interrupted by the arrival of Monokata, who dismisses Nico's illusions and identifies the trio before Kuro orders Yashiro and Nico to flee, while Seri instructs Fushimi to seal the exits. Yashiro, hesitating, looks back, ignoring Nico's plea as Kuro reaches for his sword, Katawari, recognized by Monokata, and attacks. But Monokata pins him down, expressing interest in the colorless king before Yashiro returns, surprising Kuro. Monokata questions Yashiro, who apologizes and reveals a white light from his hands, transforming into a giant sword before communicating telepathically and unleashing force against Monokata. Seizing the chance, Kuro punches him, allowing them to quickly escape. In a dark alley, Kuro slowly rests as Yashiro praises Nico for helping with their escape with her illusions and asks her to restore his memories, willing to face the consequences, which she hesitates to but eventually complies, revealing Yashiro's memory of meeting in Ashinaka's gymnasium around December 7-8, to which Yashiro asks for further exploration before experiencing a shocking memory of being pushed off a plane by a silver-haired man. Yashiro, Kuro, and Nico go back to the bridge connecting the high school and are resting beneath it as Yashiro reflects on the significance of the place, realizing he might not be who he though, to which Kuro questions the safety of returning due to Scepter 4 being after them. But Yashiro considers the school their home and decides to start anew there. Meanwhile, Monokata, during lunch with Seri, learns that their squad's failed missions due to weather conditions and notes their enemy specifically avoiding him and Fushi before Seri reports on closing perimeters around the school, and he acknowledges the challenges in capturing Yashiro. Fushimi enters, reporting that Kuro attacked their member Chikushi, and Monokata receives a note from the scene with the numbers 1E400, hinting at a 14th meeting. 15 minutes later, he answers Yashiro's call, on which Yashiro proposes a deal to contact the man in the airship, Adolf K. Weissman, which he agrees to, revealing Weissman's involvement in Tatsuka's murder, but only on the condition that Yashiro cooperate with them later. Fushimi leaves to find Yashiro, and they discuss his abilities before investigating a truck, but finding that he has escaped. Yashiro, Kuro, and Nico hide on a cargo ship, reflecting on the targeting incident, while Scepter 4 heads to an airport for a major operation to seize Weissman, as Monokata, without permission, decides to act before the Gold King and notes suspicious activity around Weissman's Himmelreich airplane connected to Tatsuka's murder. At the airport, Scepter 4 prepares helicopters for the operation, while Monokata notes a disturbance in the plane's routine and decides to act quickly. Yashiro, Kuro, and Nico join the Blue Klansmen on a helicopter by disguising themselves as Kuro explains Weissman's background, and Nico, eager to reach the Himmelreich, takes control and crashes into the plane's engines before it explodes, creating a massive silver light in the night sky that Kukuri watches from the ground. During the final months of World War II, Japanese Lieutenant Kokujoji visits an underground research facility in Germany, where Adolf K. Weissman conducts an experiment using albino mice and the Dresden slate. The slate stimulates strong and color-based aura reactions in the mice, revealing sword-like figures above marked specimens. Weissman, disapproving military use, imagining happiness through aura before an explosion suddenly occurs, prompting Claudia, Weissman's sister, to scold him for rudeness. Months later, air bombers destroy the city, leading Kokujoji to find Weissman cradling Claudia, and decades later, reports surface of Weissman's plane crash. At Ashinaka High School, students prepare for the festival as Kukuri is looking for help, so Miss Hina suggests asking someone but can't remember their specifics. They clear a room and find hints of someone's use, while in the Gold Clan's headquarters, Kokujoji mourns Weissman and Monokata examines his corpse before leaving with Goto and Kamo. In prison, Mikoto receives a call from Tatsuka's murderer, as a fox-like creature mocks Mikoto, leading him into an illusion before he locates the man and destroys his restraints. He effortlessly walks through the hallways, burning everything in his way before being stopped by guards, but he easily defeats them as well and meets his clansmen, telling them that he's at the school on the island. Kukuri and Sumac transport supplies in the school buildings when a sword of Damocles catches her eye. Suddenly, an explosion occurs near the entrances as Hamura emerges, creating panic among students as Mikoto's fiery attack on the clock tower halts the escape, and Kusanagi says cooperation won't harm them, but Hamura takes control, searching for Yashiro as the student council office receives updates, but Yada reports Scepter 4's arrival. Outside, Sari apologizes to Monokata for Mikoto's escape, leading to a discussion about the oncoming clash. Meanwhile, Anna attempts to locate Yashiro, but is unable to do so as night falls, and Kusanagi, after a call, meets Yada on the rooftop. Fushimi recalls memories of his time in Hamura, and later Kusanagi joins Mikoto and Anna in the courtyards, discussing their search before Mikoto leaves for the forest alone and runs into Monokata, after which they smoke and discuss him handing over the school, but Mikoto refuses, infuriating Monokata, who leaves. Meanwhile, Yashiro, Kuro, and Nico return to their damaged room, deciding to rescue Kukuri and the others from Hamura. Late at night, a cloaked figure plants a time bomb at Ashinaka High School. The next morning, Yada requests more clansmen for the front, and Mikoto reminisces on his meeting with Monokata before silently leaving. Scepter 4 waits outside the school bridge, and Monokata signals an attack when smoke emerges from the school before he clashes with Hamura. Students hurriedly escape, and Kukuri, saved by Yashiro, Kuro, and Nico, joins them. In a confrontation with Kukuri, Yashiro is attacked with glass, revealing a wound before the fox-like creature taunts him as he collapses and experiences memories of Weissman and the Dresden slate as a silver aura surrounds him and projects a sword of Damocles. Clansmen halt their battles, and Anna looks at the light as it reveals a sword of Damocles with clan-colored orbs, surprising Kokujoji. Kuro and Nico ask Yashiro if he's alright before he smiles and says he is Adolf K. Weissman, the Silver King. Adolf K. Weissman bids farewell to Lieutenant Kokujoji in 1945, boarding the Himmelreich alone, expressing hope for a reunion. Decades later, Yashiro reveals his identity to Kuro and Nico before the Sword of Damocles vanishes, wreaking havoc in the ongoing battle. In the past, Weissman encounters a young colorless king interested in his immortality, after which he finds himself in Yashiro's body, leading to his amnesia. He reveals the colorless king's plan to Kuro and Nico, seeking their help to save Kukuri, now possessed. Outside, clansmen battle, and Monokata's and Mikoto's swords of Damocles clash before Kuro intervenes in the clan's fight and urges them to wait for their king's orders. In the school, Yashiro, with the Silver Clansmen, assures Kusanagi and Shohei that they're not enemies, while Kokujoji contacts Kusanagi. Setting up discussions with Yashiro and Mikoto and Monokata intensify their battle, observed by the colorless king, while Kusanagi and Sari regain control and prepare escape routes as Yashiro privately discusses plans with Kokujoji, and the colorless king telepathically taunts and terrifies everyone inside the school, but Nico creates illusions to guide students to safety before Yashiro wearily leaves her in Kusanagi's care and says he'll do everything he can, while the colorless king giddily says everything will go his way. In the forest, Mikoto and Monokata engage in a heated battle, and he asks what's wrong since this isn't the best he can do, to which he answers that he wants to personally help him, hearing which Mikoto wildly fires off another attack. Meanwhile, on the snowy school campus, Kuro faces Yada and Fushimi, defeating them easily before Kuro stops fighting and Kamamoto arrives to take Yada, who's in pain, and Fushimi away before Yashiro tells Kuro that everything went well. The colorless king observes Mikoto and Monokata from afar before Yashiro and Kuro confront it, so she tries escaping, but is stopped before Yashiro traps it within himself temporarily. asking Kuro to leave with Kyukuri, while he faces Mikoto and Monokata alone. At the train station, Miss Hina and Sumika inform the student council about Kyukuri being missing, but feel that she'll be fine as Kamamoto and Yata return. Meanwhile, Yashiro interrupts Mikoto and Monokata's battle, weakened due to the colorless king, and urging Mikoto to kill him as he hosts Tatsuka's murderer, which Mikoto obliges to, causing a massive explosion as Kuro carries Kyukuri away and tells her to just rest. Mikoto apologizes to Monokata for making him do the dirty work before Monokata stabs him, making the Sword of Monocles disappear as everyone celebrates and tiny, red flakes fly into the sky, seeing which Hamura mourns their king and Kusanagi inwardly tells Mikoto that he was the best king they could have asked for. Thanks for joining the journey through K. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more anime content. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned for more captivating stories and mysteries from the world of anime.